Keir Starmer marched into this week with confidence, believing that at last his grand plan was taking shape. But by Friday, reality delivered a brutal blow. What was meant to be a demonstration of strength turned instead into a sobering humiliation. One so stark that no spin, no polished soundbite, and no carefully staged press moment can disguise it. Let's break it down. But before we do, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more updates, because what unfolded this week is a story every Briton deserves to hear. By the end of what can only be described as a deeply frustrating and embarrassing few days for Sir Keir Starmer's government, the numbers expose the truth. After repeated pledges to stop the boats and restore order at the border, Labour has managed to return exactly 2 small boat migrants to France. 2. That's the grand total. Meanwhile, GB News reports that at least 800 others are preparing to cross the Channel into Britain. For 9 days, strong winds had kept the crossings at bay, but as soon as the seas calmed, the smugglers pounced, and the chaos resumed with a vengeance. Before dawn on Friday morning, criminal gangs operating out of Calais and Dunkirk launched wave after wave of flimsy dinghies. This time the tactics were even bolder. Small boats weren't just pushed from beaches but funneled through inland rivers. Taxi routes brazenly set up by organized networks to deliver migrants directly into UK waters. By 10 a.m., the first border force vessel, Typhoon, docked in Dover. On board were 166 migrants packed into just 2 boats. As the day wore on, hundreds more were intercepted. And officials have already warned, with calm weather forecast ahead, crossings are about to surge again, potentially reaching record levels. One cannot overstate the seriousness of this crisis. Along the French coast, thousands of migrants are massed in makeshift camps waiting for their chance. When the moment comes, the scale is overwhelming. In Dunkirk alone, 40 young men were seen marching an inflatable boat through the streets before dropping it into a canal, launching right under the noses of the police. Locals watched in disbelief as officers stood by, either powerless or unwilling to intervene. In another incident, a group formed a human chain to drag their boat out of the mud, cheered on by smugglers while French authorities turned a blind eye. Tourists, furious at the spectacle, voiced their anger. One British visitor summed it up bluntly: "I'm never coming back to France. Where are the police? They're doing nothing." That same frustration is echoed by millions back home who see a slow-motion disaster unfolding daily on their screens. It was against this backdrop that former Tory MP James Sunderland launched a furious attack on Starmer's so-called one-in, one-out migrant policy. His verdict? Nothing but smoke and mirrors. Sunderland reminded the public that Labour opposed every meaningful attempt to secure Britain's borders while in opposition. And now suddenly, we're expected to believe they've discovered the political will to end the crossings. Nonsense. His words cut to the heart of the matter. This is a government pretending to act, while the situation spirals further out of control. Even more striking is how foreign voices are saying what British politicians refuse to admit. During his state visit, Donald Trump openly declared that military intervention may be necessary to restore order in the Channel. Starmer quickly dismissed the idea, insisting that border force alone was enough. Sunderland wasn't buying it. His message was clear: if Britain is truly serious, whatever it takes must be the policy. That means deploying the Royal Marines as a rapid interception force, using advanced technology to disable boats, and, if necessary, rethinking the international treaties that currently tie Britain's hands. And Sunderland's warnings cannot be brushed aside. This is no longer just an immigration problem. It is no longer just about leaky borders. This, he argued, is a military crisis. State-sponsored migration, orchestrated by traffickers with networks stretching across Europe and beyond, represents a direct threat to Britain's national security. That is why public anger is reaching boiling point. Ordinary Britons see the numbers, hundreds arriving in a single day, thousands waiting to launch, and ask the questions their leaders refuse to face. How can Starmer stand at a podium, talk about fairness and compassion, yet preside over a border policy that is toothless, dishonest, and failing before our eyes? Let's be absolutely blunt. The majority of those crossing are not genuine asylum seekers fleeing war-torn countries. Many are arriving from nations that are not at war: Albania, Eritrea, even relatively stable regions of Africa and the Middle East. There are no widespread human rights atrocities in these areas that justify mass movements on this scale. This is about economics. It is about exploiting Britain's generosity and its weak laws. And the British people see through it. In the end, this week was supposed to showcase Starmer's authority. Instead, it exposed his government's weakness. The boats keep coming, the smugglers keep winning, and the promises keep collapsing. That's the unvarnished truth, no matter how hard they try to spin it. So yes, James Sunderland is absolutely right when he says politicians must finally start saying it as it is. If the law prevents us from towing these boats back, then the law itself must change. If the European Convention on Human Rights ties Britain's hands, then leaving it must be on the table. The time for hollow promises and empty soundbites is over. Friday should serve as a rude awakening for Keir Starmer. His so-called plan lies in tatters. While his government boasts about returning 2 migrants to France, 800 more are arriving on our shores. That's not a solution, it's a surrender. Britain stands at a crossroads. Either our leaders act decisively, using every tool available, including military intervention if necessary, or we resign ourselves to an endless conveyor belt of illegal crossings that will only grow bigger with every passing season. The choice is clear, and the public will not forgive failure. Meanwhile, in other news, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has made headlines of his own. According to Farage, US President Donald Trump believes he knows who Britain's next Prime Minister will be. The president's team has reportedly drawn parallels between Reform UK's surging popularity and the current White House administration. Farage pointed to a poll carried out by The Telegraph which suggests Reform UK would win a majority in the House of Commons today, securing 331 seats outright. At the same time, Starmer's personal ratings have collapsed. A fresh YouGov survey this week revealed that just 21% of the public hold a favorable opinion of the Prime Minister, a record low. Speaking on the Harry Cole Saves the West channel on YouTube, Farage was quick to emphasize Britain's good fortune in having an American president with such a deep emotional connection to the United Kingdom. When asked about Britain's electoral future, Trump didn't mince words. He said, "Sure, Keir can beat my friend Nigel as long as he's tough on borders, tough on law and order, and drills lots of oil and gas in the North Sea." When pressed further on whether Trump views Farage as Britain's next prime minister, Farage replied that the entire U.S. administration is acutely aware of that possibility. They see similarities in their political movements. And as Farage put it, "We speak the same language. This isn't just a political calculation, it's a personal alliance forged over nearly a decade." Farage and Trump first met during the 2016 Brexit referendum and Trump's own presidential campaign. Since then, they've enjoyed a warm relationship. When Farage turned 60 last year, Trump sent a personal message praising him. "You look great, Nigel. I tell you, I was just with you and you look great. You have truly been a pivotal voice all over the world, in the United Kingdom and beyond, and everyone's lucky to have you." Even during Trump's latest state visit, where the two did not meet, Farage made the trip to Washington just weeks earlier, holding a private meeting in the Oval Office after testifying before a congressional committee on freedom of speech. There, Farage warned American lawmakers that Britain was sliding toward a climate resembling North Korea. Though Farage was notably absent from the state banquet, he was anything but excluded from key conversations. He confirmed to Talk TV that he spoke personally with Senator Marco Rubio and with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. "These guys have got big plans," Farage said. "We're going to hear about major investment in Britain from Microsoft. We're going to hear about nuclear deals. All of this is good. But it does make me wonder, why are we not pushing harder for our own nuclear industry?" That same week, Trump, standing beside British leaders at Chequers, hailed the special relationship as unmatched in the modern world. "The United States and the United Kingdom have done more good on this planet than any two nations in human history," he said. He credited Britain's tradition of liberty, carried across the Atlantic centuries ago, for laying the foundation of that bond. "We are forever joined and we are forever friends," Trump declared. For Farage, this transatlantic alliance has always been more than symbolic. It is a political weapon, and he knows how to wield it. With polls shifting firmly in Reform UK's favor, and with Starmer's popularity plunging to historic lows, Farage's confidence in his path to number 10 is only growing. Whether Trump's backing will translate into tangible electoral gains is a question only the ballot box can answer. But the message from both sides of the Atlantic is clear. Nigel Farage no longer sees himself as a fringe player or a protest politician. He sees himself as the man destined to shape Britain's future. So what do you think? Is Farage right to believe the tide is turning his way? Has Starmer already lost the trust of the people? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've not already, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more hard-hitting British political content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.